Welcome back. I hope you had a good break and you're full of energy. So it's only roughly 1 hour to go before you get your beer, wine, and other refreshments. I joined Microsoft in 2012, and one of the first tasks I got to do is join the annual corporate volunteering, which was something the Premier Services team did every year together, where you went to the mountains and you did all kinds of things of maintaining hike paths and other things. So we went all these people up there, I didn't know anyone, and we met for dinner. And while we were sitting there, the lady who ran the hotel, she came and asked one of the people in the room, "Can you tell me how I can make the @ sign so I can send emails?" So he tried to explain to her the keyboard shortcut. She didn't know that the guy was actually a Premier field engineer specialized in SharePoint, but she didn't really understand. So she left the room, she unplugged the keyboard, brought the keyboard back into the dining room, put the keyboard in front of him and said, "Okay, show me." So he showed the old keyboard shortcut, and I hope she lives ever happily after now that she knows how to send email. Now, pretty much for myself, from day one, when I got introduced into the Microsoft family, I got to experience that our mission to empower every person and organization to achieve more is not just something Satya came up with, it's not just something that is on a slide, but really is something that is in the DNA of everybody I work with and something at the core of us. But today I'm not here to talk about our mission or our volunteering. Today I'm here to talk to you about concrete examples of investment we as Microsoft Switzerland take in innovation, security, and education. My name is Kurth. I'm the Cloud and Enterprise Business Group Lead, which means I'm responsible for the go-to-market for all the products Scott Goffrey and team do. It's basically SQL, Azure, Windows Server, System Center, Visual Studio, all that kind of products that we have. Switzerland is the world's most innovative economy. Shouldn't it say country? In fact, until last week, my slide actually said country, but then the World Economic Forum tweeted that South Korea now is the world's most innovative country, followed by Sweden, Singapore, and Germany. So I had to look it up again and see what can I write, but we're still the most innovative economy. And we are so in many, many years. But let me ask you, where do you meet innovation in Switzerland in your day-to-day life? Just think about it. I'm fortunate enough, and I have a wife, she's from the US, so I spent quite some time over there. And last time I was traveling the US, I was able to select my room on my phone, unlock the room with that phone. It was all smooth. In contrast, when American people come to visit me, family, relatives, and I show them beautiful Ticino and other regions of Switzerland, they usually hand me these really big keys to make sure I don't forget to take them home. When I do online banking, the bank does a lot of efforts trying to help me to be better managing my money. So they provide insights. Where do I spend my money? To be better. But the challenge is when I pay my taxes, for example, let's say I have to pay $10,000 in taxes, I have to move $10,000 from my savings account to my salary account, because otherwise they're going to charge me a fee. So now it's in the salary account, and now I move it to the tax department. Now the graph says I spent today 20,000 Swiss francs. Did I? The same goes with my healthcare insurance. I get the invoice coming in. It's always the same amount, same insurance company. And then the e-banking asks me to categorize this as a healthcare, like health insurance, so that they can show me in a pie chart how much money do I spend on my health, on gas, car, and whatever it is. But every month, it forgets that it actually is my health expense. So what happens? I stop doing it, and therefore, it's kind of like useless for me. The good news is, it's not that there is no innovation in Switzerland. In fact, there is this series that we started, it's called the Swiss Cloud Hero, which are plenty of examples, and the list is growing, of companies that do really cool stuff in the cloud. For example, there's a company called Ayage. They have a bit over 100 farmers that send them every day their eggs. It goes through their facility. It's around 500,000 eggs. And they basically process it, packages it, and it goes to the retailer. Now, as you all know, Easter is coming up, which is actually a peak when we need a lot of eggs in the stores, and Christmas is a peak because we want our Christmas cookies. So for them to make the supply chain work, that when the retailer says, okay, I need that much eggs in that period of time, they do the math back all the way to the company that imports the chicken, goes to the breeder, then to the farmer, then to them, then to the store. So at any given time, we have the right amount of eggs that we actually like to consume. And this is business critical. And the farmers are not interested to run servers in the barn with the chickens. So they get it as a smartphone app, really cool, cool execution. Then we have data sport. Most of you probably know. If you're the athletic one in the family, then it allows your family member to follow you. In my case, I have to follow my brother-in-law and see how he's doing at any given point of a race. And they're leveraging the cloud to give me that information, so I don't have to wait for his text message in the evening. I know real time if he's good or if he has a bad day. You have a beer company that wants to really focus on making beer and not on running a server room. So they actually go to a partner and ask them, hey, just operate everything in the cloud. I don't want to have to worry about it. I feel actually better knowing that these people know how to run a data center, that it's always cool enough, that there's always electricity, all the way down to this company. It's called Your Answer. They do a mobile app that allows you to follow your favorite teams, athletes in sports. And then when you look up Roger Federer, then you actually get a picture of him. They use cognitive services that Mark talked about, makes sure where is his face in that picture, and puts it very neatly for you, no matter what the screen size is you're working on, if it's on your laptop, computer, browser, or on your mobile phone. And these are just a few examples. Now, important to know is innovation is not just innovation when it comes down to applications, mobile apps, or let's say, better online banking experiences. Innovation is also business model innovation. It's maybe that your company starts monetizing something they have not monetized in the past, or come up and create a new market. And with that, I want to introduce to you my first guest, Hans-Peter Dinner, CEO at HIAC Data AG. Please give him a nice welcome.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dave. Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to first time to present HIAC Data and what we are about. Probably most of you are not aware what HIAC means. It means Holz Industrie AG, so wooden industry company. And the transformation of HIAC was HIAC from a wooden company to a real estate company. It's the biggest private real estate company in Switzerland. And now, in the thoughts how digitalization impacts the infrastructure, we migrated, or not, we extended our business model in the aim of infrastructure delivery to cloud infrastructure. So far, the network-centric multi-cloud 4.0 is a business model, a B2B business model, where our strategy is, and believing that this industry go through a similar challenge like the car industry. In the 70s and 80s, also the European car manufacturers struggled against the Japanese in terms of innovation cycles, cost, price, performance. Then they didn't learn about to use platforms, to use ecosystems. They deliver the basic, highly standard elements. So they just do the shape, the design, the positioning, the sales, and go to market, and shortening the innovation cycles and as well the cost. And that's exactly the business model of our network-centric multi-cloud, which we developed in the last 2 years together with Microsoft. So the challenges we want to achieve is that we guarantee an end-to-end SLA. We support a hybrid integration, so you can give your customer as a solution a virtual data center where he has no friction between on-premise legacy system, in-country cloud services, and global functions out of the global Azure cloud. And that in one pocket, end-to-end private, in a private layer 2 network. End-to-end security, so security is given by design. If you can interconnect everything by layer 2 networking, you are not touchable from outside. So by definition, you are private and secure on this way, end-to-end. Private cloud connectivity, that is the basis. So we are connected from Amsterdam into Switzerland with an own 9.6 gigabit per second optical network. We fit the clouds together. Either it's Azure Public. I say always Azure Public for me now is Azure Private Cloud due to that. Azure Stack in Switzerland, and also the on-premise legacy you can fully integrate and get benefit for great solutions for your customers. That looks like, in a simple way, that we can connect your customers privately to the cloud. You can also integrate on-premise legacy equipment, legacy application, connect privately to Azure and to Office 365. And of course, you can orchestrate your internet gateway with the required securities. And in Switzerland, we have a Microsoft-based cloud EIS offering, which involves step-by-step with certain PaaS functionalities. And on top as well, Azure Stack with all these PaaS functionalities you can have in Switzerland. If you have customers, they require data to stay in Switzerland on governmental reasons, legal reasons, or also sometimes emotional reasons. So this is a whole package you can take as a platform like Audi, VW, Skoda, Renault in the car manufacturing industry is taking from Bosch, Magna, and other suppliers, and they build their cars. And nobody is asking about, is this platform now from Bosch? You buy an Audi or a Renault, and not you're looking who's delivering the platform. It's just scale, innovation cycles, cost at the end, what gives you a solution portfolio you can build then your customers' package, what fits exactly to them, and have also the required benefits, what makes the life nice and easy end of the month. So the Cloud 4 in Switzerland, we call that is an edge cloud compared to the edge computing Microsoft is talking about. And this is really not a competition to Azure. It's an extension focused on more on real-time performance. So especially in media or some IoT cases, we need more throughput, we need more IOs, and that's what is focused on. Fully GDPR compliant, and as I said, ready for edge computing. As a small example, what we are running today, proof of concepts in the media area that shows a little bit how it works together. So in media, you have always this on-premise hardware you cannot virtualize actually today. So you have to integrate that into the cloud. You have a front-end processing of the live streaming data from the football games and so on. You have to deal with 12, 15 gigabits of data per camera. So Ultra HD 4K, 120 frames per second. They are delivering between 9 and 12 gigabits, not talking about what's coming with the 8K cameras in 1 or 2 years. And then we use then Azure Cloud, their media services for after playout, for putting some content specially together that they can on demand play to the community. And everything together gives a very nice solution for the media area where we saw in certain kind of customers that they can save more than 1 million per year, so about 10 to 8% of their budget, not to have all these rolling trucks with an integrated data center in front of the soccer stadium or at the ski race and so on. So this is a new league offering really this joined together global cloud with front-end processing to a great solution. There we had some challenges together, and we still have a roadmap. Then the path or the journey has just started, and to be ready also for the 8K cams, we have some elements to implement and still some challenges. Okay, so I got this 7 minutes, really tough to give you a little bit an impression, but to close the circle, please allow me 10 seconds to close the circle. As you know, we are a real estate company. Now, why are we doing that? The first product we bring to the market now on the real estate part is that on certain lease infrastructure, the 1 gig symmetric cloud connect is a part of the office lease. So we believe in the future when you lease an apartment or an office space, you don't think about is there water or heating. And in future, you should not think about is there even cloud connection. It's there. And that's one of the first synergies we bring to the market in Geneva, Biberist, Bruckwindisch. When you go there, you have the 1 gig interconnect into the cloud as a part of your office. Thank you very much. Have a great day and a great party afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. So now you heard how Microsoft and HIAG work together and jointly invested in innovation. Let's talk for a second how we're going to invest in all of you to drive innovation. So tomorrow, everybody that read his booklet already knows something called an MX chip. When you bring us the survey where you say which session you liked, which ones you didn't like, what we can do better next year, you will receive one of these chips. And these chips is actually pretty cool. You have all kinds of sensors on it, from thermostats to magnetic, motion, security sensor. It has a built-in display, it has a built-in microphone. And I'm going to show you in a quick demo just how this looks like. So I've been told I'm not supposed to be shaky now, that they can zoom in and you can read the chip. So let's see how that works. So you see there's like the display. Currently it says DevKit Translator. That's the application that I pre-installed. You have a few of LEDs, power. This is flashing that the program is running. The green one down here tells me it's connected with Wi-Fi. And what I really like, the blue one, indicates that it's talking to Azure. Now on the back side, there is going to be a URL, so you don't have to write it down. But it's aks/ms/iot-devkit. And I'll show you in a second how this website looks. But now what this allows me is, first I have to say which input language I have. So I don't know Chinese, so let's select something I know, German. And now what it allows me is I should be able to say something in German, Frühstück. It uploads it to the cloud. It triggers an Azure function. This is serverless, as Mark Zinovich was talking about. Sends it to the cognitive services, translates it, goes to the IoT hub, and it comes back, and it says breakfast. And it actually works with other words too. Thank you. So let's just try one more. Sicherheit, because that's really important in here. So let's see if he knows all about Swiss security. So it's uploading, here we go, security. Super easy to do, and now I switch quickly over to show you how this website is to get you started. So when you go to that aks/ms/iot-devkit, you get to this GitHub website where it would allow you to buy a kit, which you don't need to because you already got one. You will also need the Visual Studio Code, which is a lightweight code editor. You saw it, Patrick from Docker, he showed it. It's open source, runs on Linux, Mac, and obviously Windows. And then basically when you're on this website, now let's do a reload because I didn't see the menu. You have the Get Started piece, which is really a step-to-step, what is in the box, how you can get started, how to connect it. In the beginning, the first time when you connect it, it's going to create its own Wi-Fi hotspot, which you can connect to. Then you have a little web interface that allows you then to basically connect it to wherever you are, either your phone, home, wireless, or at work. And then there is going to be, like with most new devices, upgrade your firmware. And then basically you're ready to get started. Here is the zip file, so it's either for Mac or Windows. You can download it. It has all the drivers and everything you need to get started. When you have done all this, you can click on Projects. And Project is really a collection just to get you started. And you see here, there's indication of that it's really easy to do. And you have everything from just controlling temperature in your room all the way to a door monitor that would allow you to see if somebody opens the refrigerator or just goes into your house. And in my case, we took the DevKit translator. It shows you which Azure services that are needed to get started. It said medium. I'm coming more from the IT pro side, so I'm not a coder. And I was able very easily to get it done because also here you get step to step. That's, by the way, how Visual Studio Code looks on Windows. It has a template, and then basically it really guides you through all the way on how you deploy the serverless application. And if you understand a lot about coding, obviously you can do a lot of tweaking and do it however you like to do it. And if you follow the instructions, you're going to have a working DevKit translator, just as in my demo. This you're going to get tomorrow, so don't lose your paper so you can pick it up. Thank you. Okay. So, demo we did. Now you heard it, you need obviously Azure. The good news here is also last fall after Ignite, we launched the Azure free account. You get $200 of credits to try everything you want for 30 days. Then you get 12 months of free Windows VMs, Linux VMs, and all kinds of database services. And there is a list that is growing, but currently it's more than 25 services that you get always for free. So with that kit, you have everything you need for free to get started. And that's our investment in innovation we want to drive with you. And to make things even better, today we launched this online group community, which is called Swiss Geeks. It's powered by Experts Live Switzerland, who are providing premium tech content. But it's something to have a two-way communication, because unfortunately, I don't get the budget to do this every day, so I have to wait another year until I meet all of you. But this is the easy way to stay in touch, and it's something where we look to read about the crazy ideas you come up with your MX chip and how we can stay connected as the tech community and inspire each other on innovation. So don't forget, join. It also says on your booklet, it's AKMS Swiss Geeks. It's a LinkedIn group, so we're looking forward for collaboration. I don't know about you, but I'm the guy who needs the latest gadgets. It's something I want. And there was like this little machine that was being sold. I think it started a year ago. It has a camera. You can put it at your front door, and if somebody comes in, it takes a snapshot and uses face recognition to tell me that it was my wife or my dog, just in case I didn't recognize on the picture, but it gives me the name. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. It's a gadget. I like it. Want to buy it? But then I'm like, oh shit, they see every time when I leave the house and come back. That's a lot of kind of like knowing about my business. And I've never heard of the manufacturer of that machine. So I was like, let me go to their website and try to find out, what do they do to protect my data? And I was unable. So I didn't buy it. So when Satya said that users will only adopt technology they can trust, I'm your living proof it's actually like that. And how Microsoft is doing it and other companies, I know, but there's a lot of companies out there, it's really hard to figure out just on their website what they do. And we're making a lot of fun about it, that security is important. We're certainly in Switzerland very security affine, but when you're really honest with yourself, for far too long in Switzerland, we thought, we're neutral. We're too small. Nobody cares. There's no target on our backs. But the headlines prove us wrong. I was actually laughing because it's not even the latest. It's nothing about Spectre and Meltdown, which affected all of us. If you had an Intel CPU, it affected you. It doesn't matter where it physically stands. I had a shoulder surgery not too long ago. I went to the doctor. He had Windows XP. I told him, hey, you know, Windows XP, you don't get any security updates anymore. It's not supported. He said it's okay. He doesn't need a newer Windows. And he was actually telling me how excited he was that he found a power supply on ebay.de or something for 7 or 14 euros with shipping that he still can use Windows XP. It honestly doesn't make me feel great. It honestly made me want to ask him how his vacation home is coming along, because I'm pretty sure that's where he invested his money, but buying a new up-to-date PC was too much to ask. And with all due respect, it just has my health data on it. And when we think about these new challenges that we're facing, it also needs a very new approach. And Microsoft takes a very unique approach. We're not just talking about platform, we're talking about policy. Because you see, if somebody tries to hack you and you stop the attack, he's going to try again. And maybe he tries somewhere else. So you need actually laws, regulations into place that you can hold those criminals accountable and put them in prison. So you also need to work on the policy piece. Then you can work on the platform, which is something most of us do. Then how can we leverage artificial intelligence and insights to empower the teams that monitor the cloud services we provide, that help to build more secure products? And then partners. Everything we do, just as in the first example, everything is with partners. In 1949, the Fourth Geneva Convention got signed, and the Fourth Geneva Convention rules how to protect civilians in times of war. In the new battlefield of cybercrime, we need to have a convention about how to protect civilians during times of peace. When Sony got hacked by North Korea, it wasn't like two countries were at war. It was a nation-state attack on a private entity. When we look at the news that foreign governments trying to influence elections, that's not a physical war. So we need to bring together the tech industry and the nations, and being able to agree on a set on policies and create this governing agency on top of it that can hold those states accountable to protect civilians in times of peace. Mark already showed you this slide. He didn't mention, but we actually invest $1 billion every year into security. And that investment, plus AI, plus platform, everything we do, Digital Crimes Unit, Cyber Defense Operations Center, leads to the most comprehensive compliance portfolio in the industry. What is very important to know is, just because we have it doesn't mean you have it. Because you see, if you use password 123456, you're not compliant with any of these standards. If you work with full admin rights every day, the whole time, you're not compliant. If you use real user data for your software application testing, you're not compliant. The only thing this really means is that you can take a look and say, I'm in this industry, or this is expected from me to be compliant with this standard. Let's say it's ISO 27001, which is something I think everybody should be compliant. But you say this is important to me, then you can build your solution on top of it or your application on top of it to be as well compliant, because you know that Microsoft, up to the thing where we provide the service, is compliant to that status. He also mentioned GDPR. Not all the hands went up, and I know GDPR is something that Swiss people, we also believe it's not going to affect us. One attorney friend once told me, it's like, did you ever speed in Germany? Did the fine find you in Switzerland? Same theory. It's going to apply on that. The good news is there's going to be actually a new Data Privacy Act from Switzerland, which will affect all of us. And there is going to be very much similarities between what the GDPR has and what we're going to put into place. But as I said before, partners are everywhere at the core where we do. And also here, please welcome with me my second guest, Ogi Stanovcic, Chief Business Officer at Open Systems. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Dave. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Open Systems has been taking security seriously and has been doing that for over 25 years now. And to be honest, back then, Microsoft was not top of the list when you spoke about security. I think that's no secret. But the truth is, today, it certainly is. Microsoft has some of the most advanced security capabilities available in the market today. And it is a real honor and pleasure to announce our partnership here in this space. Now, David has shown in his presentation, and Mark has done that before, a beautiful and clean security, compliance, governance model that is available to anybody who is in the Microsoft cloud. And I agree with that. It's very nice. Most organizations, however, live with these two worlds, their on-premise world and the cloud. And the bigger challenge today is getting that clean model back into the organizations. And this is the challenge. A typical company will have an average of 32 different technologies for IT security only. And that's not a problem per se. But the challenge is those all work in silos. They're not well integrated. SOCs and NOCs don't work together. Companies have different security on-premise and in the cloud. And that makes it very difficult for people who are responsible to operate and secure those businesses. We follow a highly integrated, highly standardized approach that will extend the way that you know it from the cloud into on-premise, wherever the users are, in a layered approach that is transport layer agnostic. They'll give across the whole ecosystem the same security, the same feeling, be it a single sign-on was a talk about, I want my Office 365 and Azure applications and on-premise applications to work exactly the same, to feel the same, with the same security. With this approach, the cloud, the on-premise, this hybrid model, private cloud, naturally extend each other seamlessly. When going into the cloud, especially if you're internationally distributed as an organization, and those dots here are where our customers are, so truly around the world, 182 countries, there's two things that are really relevant: good connectivity, good security, all across that ecosystem. This is what Open Systems specializes in. This is what we do. We do only this. And through that, enable companies to get that standard across the globe. And I'll give you a good example here. Any of you who flew in today or the next time you fly, there's a very high probability that the food and beverage came on that aircraft from a company called Gate Group. It is an amazing company, qualifies for the Cloud Hero, by all means, high volume, high complexity business supported by IT. And to give you an example of that complexity and volume, one such long-haul flight may have up to 200,000 individual items, up to 9 tons of material loaded into the aircraft in a very short time. And that's just one flight, and there's one taking off just about every second somewhere around the world. They're global, they're in over 120 locations on 6 continents. So, apart from great people and great processes, there's a very powerful ERP system that helps coordinate this complexity and volume. Where would such an ERP system run? It has needs for very high availability, very high performance. Any guesses here? Obviously in Microsoft Azure. Works like a clock. In order to get that across the organization, the users and their production sites directly connected there, Gate Group has entrusted Open Systems with transitioning their MPLS network into a fully managed, secure, software-defined WAN. And the results are amazing because all of their locations have the same security, and they have the malware protection and the phishing protection and firewalls, you name it, whatever runs, but it's all easily coordinated in a single portal. And not just security, but connectivity as well, because these things go hand in hand when you speak about availability and business continuity. They have increased their bandwidth 10 times and yet saved 25% on the network costs while establishing all of that. And these and many similar cases you can find at open.ch, or if you just want to engage in a discussion about your own digital journey and securing it, please visit us or come up at the apero that'll be afterwards. Thank you very much.
So you saw or heard how we partnered with a Swiss partner who is specializing in security. And I'm here to challenge all of you. Most of the world entrusts their money to us. And to be fair, I'm probably customer with many of the companies in this room, and I literally have no idea what you do because usually your company doesn't make presentation, flash around some certification portfolio, so it's hard to know. But we can make all the difference, we as a community, and keep each other's data secure, and it's up to us to build a neutral digital Switzerland that retains the trust of the world. When we talk to customers and partners right now, one of the most common pain is finding talent and expertise. There's a study from Rackspace with the London School of Economics that came to that conclusion in the DACH region, which means Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. They say lack of expertise hinders innovation. And we see this almost on a day-to-day basis, where somebody has a great idea and says, I want to do this, or I want to do that. And then they try to find the expertise, but they don't find it. ICT Switzerland says that between 2016 and 2024, more than 78,000 IT professionals are missing, of which 48% are developers. And the intriguing thing about just thinking about that the lack of expertise is missing it, is the fact that the solution to this challenge is in this room or is watching online. It's us, the tech community. And never before has it been so easy to get access to free trainings, cost trainings, physical trainings, trainings with learning partners to actually make a difference. And I don't know what your aspiration is, if you want to have a super steep career, if you just want to like smooth sailing. But if you're interested in a career and you right now invest time in learning something new, some of these skills, you will be surprised how your career is going to take off, how much more you're in demand of, how many recruiters are going to reach out to you over LinkedIn. And it's really up to us. But online trainings, learning partners is not the only way how we invest in Switzerland. ETH is official part of the Microsoft Research Quantum Compute efforts. And I ask for a warm welcome for my third and last guest today, Thomas Henne, PhD student at ETH. Thomas, welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
So you told me actually it's not an easy question, but I'm going to start with an easy question. It's not easy. What is quantum computing?
Right, that's really a tough one. So we all know how classical computers work, so let's start with that. So there, the most basic unit of memory is a bit. And we all know how bits work. They're either 0 or 1, so that's really simple there. And if we start computing with bits, it's our processor which manipulates bits with other bits, combines them, and that's just how our everyday laptops or Surface Books work. Now, if we go to quantum computers, we don't have bits, we have quantum bits, which is just quantum mechanical versions of a bit. And there, it's not just 0 or 1, but the bit can actually be in a superposition of both. And even more so, if you have several bits, say n, then you can represent all 2 to the n possible classical bit strings with these quantum bits at the same time. And you can also compute with these at the same time, so you can apply an operation on all possible inputs. The problem is just that in the end, you will have a superposition of all possible outputs. And when you try to look at one and hopefully measure the result you're looking for, the entire system collapses into this one output that you just observed. That's just how quantum mechanics works. And so if you want to develop a good quantum algorithm, what you need to do is find a way to massage the probabilities of observing the right answer such that in a way that cancels out the probabilities of the results you're not interested in and boosts the probability of the one answer that you're looking for.
So I hope you all understand now what quantum computing is. We're going to ask later at the apéro. I obviously had the chance to spend a few hours with him. I still don't get everything, but I'm getting closer. But what is super interesting, what exactly in that whole world of quantum computing is the field that you focus on or specialize on?
Right, so in my PhD, I look at quantum algorithms and their classical counterparts. So what we might see is 2 curves like this. So we might know that the classical algorithm scales worse. So the way it grows with problem size is worse than the quantum algorithm. What we don't know is where exactly the quantum line is. So we don't know, is it up there or is it down there? But this is really important because depending on where this crossover point is, meaning when it actually makes sense to use a future quantum computer, the entire quantum algorithm might just be useless because the runtime at this crossover point might already be 10,000 years, for example, and that doesn't really make for an interesting application. So as a first step, I usually determine where this line actually lies for a future quantum architecture. And then I try to optimize the quantum algorithm in order to reduce the problem size at which quantum computers would actually make sense. So try to reduce the runtime and therefore also widen the scope of a future quantum computer.
Okay, and what would you say was one of the highlights as part of Microsoft research that you have done?
Right, so 1.5 years ago, I got a chance to do an internship at Microsoft Research. And there we decided to look at a very well-known quantum algorithm, namely Shor's algorithm for factoring. And this algorithm can be used to factor very large numbers, so meaning determining the factors p and q such that p times q gives you this very large number that was input to the algorithm. And this can be used to break RSA encryption. And we wanted to see if we can find a way to actually speed up the execution on a potential future quantum computer. And the solution included a new way of performing an addition on a quantum computer, and this actually allowed to speed up the execution on a potential future quantum computer by roughly 12x.
Thank you for that. Again, if you don't understand everything, it's okay. It's okay. You can ask him also at the apéro. He's going to stay around.
Right.
But to the #1 question I think a lot of people have, where do you see the first application of quantum computing?
I think the first applications for quantum computers will be in the simulation of quantum systems, and most importantly, in the simulation of quantum chemistry systems such as molecules, for example. And those simulations can then be used to dramatically accelerate the drug development process of pharmaceutical companies.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas. So again, if you want to learn more about quantum computing, Search them up in the app room. Okay. So now you heard practical examples how Microsoft has partnered with different companies in the field of innovation, security, and education. And when we look at the World Economic Forum study about being the most innovative economy, and you look, what attributes do they look at? It's things like infrastructure, broadband access, access to higher education and all that. Then we really look into a bright future. So just as the opening video earlier today, the really big question is, what will you do? Will you invest in training, learn something new, kickstart your career? Or will you follow your crazy vision of something innovative you ever thought you should do but never really took the time or invested into? Or will you invest in innovative startups? Or will you invest into security and make sure no matter if you're a developer, IT pro, or data science, that no matter what you do, security is the fundament, is the core of everything you do? Or just being an advocate and run around on Bahnhofstrasse with like secure IT or something. But it's really the question is, what will you invest in? We from Microsoft Switzerland, we're not just committed to invest in these areas, we already are investing. And we do believe that everyone in here can make a difference in the digital transformation of Switzerland. And just like with the example today, let's join forces together in these areas. Work with us. Let's come together as the tech community in here, watching online, and lead the way of the digital transformation of Switzerland.